I think we just had the best weekend of football this season. The best results, the best moments, the best drama, everything in combination. I think this was the best. And it's interesting because it's after an international break where usually teams struggle to kind of get up for games. But I think this was the best weekend of football we've had this season. We're going to talk about it all in episode 4 of FIYIN'S Final Take. Now, before I get into anything in this video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts below on any of the games that we talk about today. We have only one place to start, and that's the Manchester Derby. Now, Man City beat Manchester United 3-0, but going into this game, I was so confident. Let me not say confident, but I had a feeling it could go either way. Two vulnerable teams, two vulnerable midfields, defenses. Honestly, the goalkeeper issues for both of these teams, right? Kind of unsettlement in the positions. I thought, okay, United can go in there on the counter-attack. They can cause them trouble. And for parts of that first half, they were causing, there were some moments where I'm sure Man City fans looked up and said, oh, this team can cause us some trouble. There was a moment where I think it was Bruno Ugarte played a ball over to Mbeumo, and he was in behind Man City's high line. It was offside, yes, but moments like that can happen against Man City. So I'm thinking, okay, Man City, they're vulnerable. United, of course, are vulnerable. I can see this being a score draw, a 3-2, a 2-3, some kind of result like that. And what happened with Man United is what happened with Man United last season again. They're not clinical enough. If they get the chances to score, they will not take it. On a consistent basis, that is. But on the other side, you have Man City, who Erling Haaland is as clinical as they come. Phil Foden, it seems like in Manchester derbies, always gets up for the game. And that's exactly what both of them did again yesterday. They do the same thing to Man United every single season. It's like a 1-2 punch. Doku was amazing, gets the cross into Foden, a lovely guided header, and then Erling Haaland with his little signature run off the back line, chip it over the keeper. I think he scored that goal. I can remember he scored that goal like 5 times in the last year. That exact same goal of just chipping the ball over the keeper, and then gets played in behind. Calm little finish. But it's not even about the goals. It's about how Manchester United always look vulnerable against it seems like every team has their best performance of the season against Man United. You look at Burnley, probably their best game, even though they lost it, probably their best performance of the season was against United, right? Or maybe the 3-0, that they played against. But everybody gets up for the games against United. And I'm thinking, is United ever going to get up for the games against these other teams? Why is the best moments for teams always against United? Amorim, this rigid structure that he has is just completely ineffective. I don't see any player in his system performing better now that they're in the system than before they were in the system. I don't see any player improving. I don't see anybody that I think, oh wow, Amorim has really made this guy a star or made this guy much more effective. It seems like it's always the same things with this guy. And you continue to recycle the same ideas, the same formation. I can't, as a Liverpool fan, I can't even fathom the amount of anger I would feel if we need a goal and you sub off a center back and bring another center back on. What kind of tactical? This guy, he's lost. He's lost. But the credit has to go to Man City because they punished United when they needed to. It seems at times that United were pressing and they were on the front foot, but it seemed like City didn't even care about being on the front foot. They just cared about scoring. Once you get our goals, we're good. You can have all the possession you want. You can have, because we're not worried that you even score. You don't have any potent attacking players that we can. Oh, this is Salah and Mane. This is Diego Costa. This is Eden Hazard. This is. You don't have any of that, so they're not worried about you having possession in their final third. So credit to Man City. I made a video about this yesterday, kind of talking in depth about this game, so I won't go too in depth about this game today. But it's the same old thing with United. It's the same thing. We'll make a video next week for the Chelsea United game. I promise you it will be the same kind of performance, and we'll say the same kind of things about the result. So we don't even need to talk in length about it. For Man City, I'll give credit to Doku. I give credit to Kusanov, who I think played really, really well. Probably is one of his best games as a City player. Nico Riley was good. Foden, of course, and Haaland were also good. Donnarumma made some good saves as well, so credit to him in his debut. But Man City, as they always do, beat United in the Manchester derby, it seems. Moving on to the next game, Burnley versus Liverpool. Now, I did talk about this game in depth yesterday, so I won't go too in depth about this game. But mostly, what this game showed me is that Burnley can eke out results against some of the top teams. They can grind in there, right? You're not expected to go to any of the top teams and get a point. You're probably not even expected to host any of the top teams and get a point. But what they've shown me is that they're solid enough defensively to where they can get results against difficult teams. And then when they play the likes of Leeds and Sunderland and all these, Brentford, all these bottom half type of teams, they can be competitive. They can actually win those games, right? I don't see enough goals in their team. I don't see a recognized striker. I don't see enough any potency in their attack. What I do see is a rigidness and a compactness, and that's what Liverpool had to contend with in that match. It was 90 minutes of 80% possession, shot after shot, block after block, corner after corner. It just seemed like it was an impenetrable defense. There was really no clear-cut chances in that game. Liverpool just kept pushing, but it wasn't really getting anywhere. It was frustrating as a fan to watch that. So I'm thinking to myself, man, if Isak was on this pitch, I feel like we scored by now. If I have to keep saying it, God rest his soul, but if Jota's on this pitch, we find a goal somewhere, right? It didn't seem like we were getting clear-cut. We weren't getting the types of chances that were easily convertible, if that makes sense. We weren't getting any clear-cut. And we played against these, low-block teams in the past under Klopp, and it's been the same struggle. So I'm thinking, okay, under Arne Slot, a bit more of a tactical, attacking manager, we can find ways to break them down. But it seemed like the same old thing. And it's always after an international break. I make the same statement all the time. International breaks, teams come back and they just look lost. Most of the team, it's mostly Premier League teams. I've noticed it with Premier League teams. Most of them look lost after an international break. I don't really see it as much with some of the La Liga teams or the Bundesliga teams. It's always Premier League teams that just look lost when they come back from international breaks. Maybe because the game is too early or whatever it is, they always look lost. But Quest Liverpool kept pushing, and Hannibal needs to be investigated, because I've seen some handballs in my life and seen some penalty calls. That was like the most, he literally moved his, I don't know. I don't investigate that brother, because what was he thinking? Especially as a Man United former player. I don't know what he was thinking, but it's a clear penalty, and Salah, we all held our breaths. Okay, let's be honest. We all held our breaths because I'm tired of this guy missing pens, and not just missing pens, but skying them to Rosette. I'm tired of seeing it. So credit to him for winning the game. Credit to Liverpool. Now it's down 2 clean sheets on the bounce. All this talk about Liverpool's defense is so vulnerable, giving up 2-0 leads to Bournemouth, to Newcastle. We're now against Arsenal and Burnley, 2 clean sheets. So let's try to find a happy medium between great attacking football that we saw in the first 2 games and great defensive football that we saw in the last 2 games. Combine that in the Merseyside derby, and I think we'll be good to go from there. And Isak will be playing, so that I think changes a lot about how Liverpool look moving forward. Now, Arsenal Forest. Arsenal Forest is one of those games where early kickoff after a national break, big team. This is the time to cause an upset. But when I factored everything into account, Ange Postecoglou's first game, that's really the main thing. Ange Postecoglou's first game, because Arsenal had some injuries, but we saw Odegaard play in the international break, so I assume he was fit. Obviously, that was not the case because the injury resurfaced like 15 minutes into the game. Saka's obviously out. Madueke looked I don't want to say he looked like Saka out there, but he looked really, really good. Really, really effective in that, especially in the first half. He was skinning Morato every single chance that he got. And that's what you need from your winger. Especially when you have a mismatch like that, a center back playing left back, abuse him, dribble past him, get him to foul you, get him on a yellow card, just punish him for being out of position. And he did that. So much so that we didn't even see too much of Eze in that first half. But what we saw from Eze is exactly what Arsenal fans need from their left side. Creativity. Right, because you're not gonna get that from your left back for the most part. Arsenal want to invert their left back. They want to use their left back as maybe like an inside option. With Calafiori's case, he's kind of a box crasher, but you're not really getting creativity from your left wing. And the times on Martinelli, he's not a creative player. He's a dribble into space, dribble with his head down, look up last minute. No, Eze is one of the players that he dribbles with his head up. He's dribbling the ball. He's looking around. He's finding passes that ordinarily Arsenal wingers in the past would not have seen. Speaking of Trossard and Martinelli, so it's a great performance. Zubimendi, obviously, kind of tough start to the season. Tough game against United. Tough game against Liverpool. Kind of picked it up in this game, right? Obviously, the first goal deflected a little bit, but it's still a great strike. And then the header to round it off. And then Gyökeres, getting his third goal of the season. People said all these things about, against Liverpool, he struggled. Most teams struggle against Liverpool. Like most big teams, Haaland struggles against Liverpool. Gyökeres struggles against. It seems like the only player that doesn't struggle against Liverpool is Isak. But now he's a Liverpool player, so. But it's natural to struggle against Van Dijk and Konate. That's not, the end-all, be-all. If you can pump goals against teams like this, get Arsenal wins against teams like this, that will take them very far in the title race. So credit to him. It was a well-taken goal. It was a great assist from Eze. Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, Zubimendi, all excellent 8 out of 10 plus performances from them. They all performed extremely well in this game. And that's what Arsenal fans want to see. We want to see our signings kind of prove their worth. We want to see the money that we spent kind of look like it's doing something. And so far, it's doing something. So good on them. Good win for Arsenal. And now we move to the other side of London. The blue side of London. Brentford 2, Chelsea 2. Now, the reason I keep talking about Chelsea and saying this team is not winning this Premier League, they can push, they can compete for 30 weeks, whatever, but there's just so much inconsistency in their performances. There's so much inconsistency in this Chelsea team. One game, wow, this is the Club World Cup champions. They're pummeling PSG. They're playing exceptionally well. The next game, anybody can score on Chelsea. Any corner, any free kick, there's a chance that they'll score. 1 minute, it's look at all these young, exciting players. The next minute is, man, this team is too young. They're not potent enough. They're not effective enough on a consistent basis. Esteval looks great one game. Pajanto was great one game. The next game, they look like absolute, like not like what was the money spent for? Jamie Gaines comes in. Wow, what was that? Garnacho comes in, does a hell of a lot more than Gittins did the whole game. So that's kind of what we're going to keep seeing with Chelsea, right? Brentford, for all the talk that we had about Brentford, I need to get this right. For all the talk we had about Brentford are on 4 points. Brentford are on 4 points. Like, at the rate they're going, Brentford can stay in this league. And we had so many doubts. Losing Norgard, losing Mbeumo, losing Wissa, losing Thomas Frank, of course. All the doubts of, are Brentford going to go down? Are they going to be sucked into a relegation battle? And it's still early in the season. It's still possible. But what I see from Brentford is I see a fight. I see a team that has probably heard that everybody says, we're not going to stay up. We lost all our best players. We're going down. There's a fight in this team, right? I think there's still more to come from them under Keith Andrews. So I expect Brentford to get a little bit better as the season goes on. I'm not saying they're going to stay up. I'm not saying they're going to be, top 10 or whatever. But I see a fighting spirit. And with already proven players for the most part in their squad, that can be enough to carry you through a season. But for Chelsea, once Cole Palmer came on the pitch, they changed a different gear to a different gear. And that's the issue. You spent all this money, but it's still, if Cole Palmer is not playing, what are we as a team? That's not what it should be, right? Arsenal, you spend this money so that if Saka's not playing, Eze can step up, Gyökeres can step up, right? Different Madueke can step up. Liverpool, you spend all this money. If Salah's not playing, Isak can step up, Ekitike can step up, Wirtz can step up. Right, you spend this money so that other players pick up the baton and can carry you when your star player is not there. And we're thinking, okay, João Pedro can be that helpmate, that guy but he was anonymous. He was anonymous, and I said, let's not get carried away with João Pedro yet. Okay, I watched this guy at Watford. I watched this guy at Brighton. He's not the most consistent player. Yes, when he's great, he looks unplayable. But he's not great consistently week by week. And that's not revisionism. That's not, me reactionary. We've watched him for years in the Premier League. So we should know what he is by now, right? If you can get that consistency in this game, that's a different story. But for now, what I know of João Pedro, 3 out of 5 games, he might look like the best player in Chelsea. The other 2 games, you'll be so quick to sub him off. So hopefully he can get that consistency in his game and be a more consistent threat, right? Because Chelsea need him to be. It cannot be the Cole Palmer show all season again. Because when he burnt out, second half of last season, where was the help? Who was going to be able to help him throughout the season? So that needs to be João Pedro's role in this Chelsea team, because I think for all the signings they made, he's probably the most established, mature of the new signings. So he needs to be that guy for Chelsea. Great goal from Palmer. Great goal from Caicedo, who just continues to impress in that Chelsea midfield. Great goal from Schade. It's great goals all around, right? Except for the last goal. I think a lot of Chelsea fans are Garnacho this, Garnacho that. But there were 4 Chelsea players marking the near post, and Ayer still won the header. That cannot happen. You're going to put 4 Brentford players as a whole in the box, and 5, 6 Chelsea players, 7, and you lose that header at the near post. And then obviously Garnacho looks terrible at the back post, but why are you losing that header when there's 4 players in there? So I don't understand why all the hate is directed towards Garnacho, but you have to find someone to scapegoat in moments like this. So credit to him. Meaning, but the game is the game, right? The game is the game. There's always going to be someone to blame, but hopefully, he kind of bounces back from this. Hopefully, because he got an assist still, so good performance from him overall, and hopefully he can bounce back from this and kind of help Chelsea moving forward. I think he is going to be that left winger for Chelsea. I've seen enough of Giddens just over the years. I think Garnacho is a better player, so I expect to see more from him moving forward. Now let's talk about West Ham versus Tottenham Hotspurs. West Ham are a funny team. They're a funny team because they will really make you think, oh, we're back. We're performing well. We're doing this. Against Forest, 3 quick-fire late goals, and you're thinking, oh, okay, they might have saved Graham Potter's job. Maybe now they can. No. It was an anomaly. They were back to the same West Ham that we know. Under Potter. Spurs just mauled them, right? And I know the red card for Souček is a tough blow. His initial reaction, he just knew. He was like, this is a terrible tackle. And he's not that kind of player that, is malicious or anything like that, but you just kind of know as a professional, sometimes when you make a tackle, you're done. You're cooked. And he knew it. He didn't even argue it. He just looked disappointed and crestfallen. From that point on, I think it just galvanized Spurs. It galvanized Spurs, and yes, they got the goal off the corner from Xavi Simons, who had a decent performance. Sarr gets the goal. After the red card, Bergvall quickly doubles it, and then Van de Ven rounds it off. So now it's a Spurs team where you're looking at that result against who they lose to. They lost a home game. I think it was against Bournemouth. Looking at that result, you think to yourself, man, Spurs could really be top of this league right now. Or they should be. They should never have performed the way they did against Bournemouth. It's a disappointing result. But they're looking like a team that can fight for that top four. I'm not being reactionary. I think they made good signings. I think they made signings in key positions. You're still going to have Madison come back at some point. You're still going to have Kulusevski come back at some point. Solanke will come back at some point. You've also brought in Kolo Muani for more depth in the attacking position. So this is a team under Thomas Frank that will be defensively sound and have shown already this season that they can get you goals. Now, they can do it on a consistent basis, then great news. But I'm liking what I see from the Spurs right now. I definitely think I like, in terms of performances this season, on a consistent basis, I think the best performers this season have been Liverpool and Spurs. And Bournemouth, actually. Liverpool, Spurs, and Bournemouth. I think Arsenal, yes, they're in the top four positions, but they haven't been as good of a watch as those teams have been, at least for me. So credit to Spurs, credit to Thomas Frank. Now they go into the midweek game. I don't know who they play in the Champions League, but with a lot of confidence, with a lot of enthusiasm, right? After the poor result before the international break. So credit to Spurs. And then a couple, kind of notes on some Premier League teams. Bournemouth beating Brighton. That's 3 wins on the bounce for Bournemouth. I think they're third or fourth right now. People talked about, Liverpool. Bournemouth are a good team. They're a very, very good team. Semenyo, that boy's a star. If they don't make, top 5 Europa League, whatever, I think this might be his last season. I think this should be his last season, because any of these big teams should be looking at him and thinking, yeah, I need that. Like United under a new manager, probably. I need that. Chelsea, I know you signed 1,000 players, but that would have been a great signing for Chelsea. A great signing for all these teams would have liked the Semenyo. And I worry that if he stays another season past this season, he's gonna kind of close the window of opportunity, right? We saw Kudus leave at the right moment, at the right time. The ship was sinking at West Ham. Kudus jumped ship. It's not sinking at Bournemouth, but if you can make that next jump to the next level, do it. So credit to Bournemouth. Newcastle defeating Wolves, getting their first win of the season. Fulham defeating Leeds, getting their first win of the season as well. So credit to all those teams. And the Premier League is definitely getting to an exciting point. I think at this point of the season, everybody has a win, maybe? I have to verify that. I honestly don't know, but I think, yeah, everybody barring Wolves has some points. Everybody but Wolves have some points. Everybody but Wolves and Villa has a win. So that's a lot better than last season, where it just seemed like the people are feeding on the newly promoted teams. And it's great that none of the newly promoted teams are in the bottom 3. Burnley are 17th, so they're close, but they're not quite there. One of them, Leeds, are 16th. They're close, but they're not quite there. And then Sunderland are 7th. So the promoted teams are performing admirably, and I'm happy that they're not just getting smacked around by the big boys. Now let's pivot. Let's pivot over to La Liga. And the Madrid Sociedad game told me everything I love about this league and everything I hate about this league in one game. Right? What I love about this league: exciting players. Like the Yamals, the Rafinhas, the Mbappes, the Vinis, the Judes, the Julian Alvarez, exciting, just blockbuster players. You saw that first goal from Real Madrid, Mbappe, a turnover, but it just seemed like their feet were in cement, and he was the only person running at full speed. Just zooms past the defense, and that first touch to take him across the defender was exceptional. One of those high IQ moments. People like to say things like, "Oh, Mbappe without his pace would be Mbappe is a high IQ player. His movement, his positioning, He's an elite player, and we all know that. There's no need to even talk about his talent. We all know what he is. But that's a great burst of pace, great first touch, and then a great finish. I think Ramiro almost had a touch to it, but again, is what it is. And then the red card comes in, and you're just like, okay, this is what we're doing, right? The ball gets played over the top. Oyarzabal is running through on goal. Dean Huijsen, stupidly, yes, admittedly, that was a very stupid decision to pull him down because Oyarzabal is not a rapid player. Dean Huijsen at full pace probably could have still caught up to him and still, put pressure on him. But he pulls him down foolishly, yes. But look at the play. Militao's right there, 10, 15 yards away, in front of the ball, by the way. And we know Militao is a fast player. Even with his ACLs, he's still reasonably fast. And again, Oyarzabal's not fast either. He's gonna recover. They both probably recover. And he gets a straight red card. Okay, fine. The referee probably didn't see Militao in his periphery. What's the linesman doing? Did you not see Militao on the same line? Did you not tell the referee to go take a look at it? Did VAR not tell there was no review. It was just a red card. I never seen red cards there's no, what are we doing? And it's that same guy, Jesus Gil Manzano. Always him. I think it was the same guy in that Madrid game a couple years ago. Bellingham's last minute goal that he called off. Sky, bro, you're a referee. You're there to referee the game. Nobody comes to see you. Nobody cares how your hair looks. Nobody's there for you, bro. So stop making the games about yourself. It's exhausting. I'm sick of referees like this. I deal with it in the Premier League. It's exhausting. Nobody cares about you, bro. Like, respectfully, they're there for the players. You're there to mediate the game. We should never be knowing your name other than good job, buddy. But every time we hear your name, it's controversial decision. It's exhausting. And I know Madrid fans are probably sick of this guy, sick of him refereeing their games. We'll see him in the Champions League at some point again. I'll be sick of him then. It's so unnecessary the way he referees games, right? However, Madrid showed their quality still. Arda Güler and Mbappe, the two players of the match for me, for Real Madrid in that game. Just a nice little ball around the corner. Mbappe, this guy, his speed of thought and his speed of feet. The shimmy and just goes down the line in like a flash. The defender is still turning to this day. Goes on the line, plays a little ball to Arda Güler, but it seems like an easy finish. But that first touch from Arda Güler to direct the ball into his path is incredible. Is incredible. This is why people talk about this guy in such high regard. I'm telling you guys, this Turkish team, man, Can Uzun, Kenan Yildiz, Arda Güler. Obviously, you have the experience of Çalhanoğlu and Kokcu and guys like that. This Turkish team can do a little some in the World Cup. I know they got spanked by Spain, but it's Spain. But he looked amazing. Great first touch, and then just a calm second touch. And then from that point on, Madrid 2-0 up, but with the red card, you're not going to expect too much from them going forward, right? Sociedad, yes, they have cute little players. They'll get the ball, in good places and good spaces. They don't have goals in that team. It's the same old news from last season. I think only 2 teams had less goals than Sociedad last season. They don't score goals. So you're not even worried, even with the red card, you're not worried that, this team is gonna do something. They did get the penalty, which was the right call. Carvajal with the handball, and Oyarzabal puts them on the board, but you never really expected Sociedad to score in open play. And it's the same old news from last season. Hopefully they can bring in a striker. Hopefully they can find one of the strikers that can give them goals. But until they get a goal scorer, it's going to be the same old for Sociedad this season. So a decent win for Madrid, not convincing. I think the red card hurt them. If not for the red card, I think it would have been a convincing win. But what was a convincing win was Barcelona 6, Valencia 0. Barcelona put belt to ass. Okay? And the last 3 games against Valencia, It's a 7-0 or 7-1. They scored 7 goals. They scored 5 goals, and then scored 6 goals. 18 goals in 3 games. They're having their way with this Valencia team, and they just put out the bench squad. Yamal's out. Rooney Bargi comes in. Lewandowski's out. Ferran Torres come in, or not out, but on the bench. Ferran Torres come in. Rafinha, disciplined by Hansi Flick. Marcus Rashford come in. Dani Olmo not playing. Firmino come in. Frankie de Jong not playing. Casado come in. Balde not playing. Gerard Martin come in. Araujo not playing. Eric Garcia come in. It was like seven subs in the. I think it was only Koundé, Garcia, Kubarsi, and Pedri. 4 players that are bona fide starters started the game. They put in effectively their B team, and they handled Valencia. Fermin Lopez, double. Rafinha, double. Lewandowski comes on, double. How many teams can bring on substitutes and their subs can just give you doubles like that? How many? We're looking at probably the most potent attacking force in the game of football right now. These guys are terrifying. They're frightening to watch and probably more frightening to play against. Credit to Barcelona. Credit to all the players. Fermin performed extremely well. Ferran Torres missed some chances, but he still played pretty well. Rashford with his assist. Rafinha kind of getting back to form. Lewandowski getting back into form. It's a great win for Barcelona. Not too much to say other than they just dominated the game. They dominated the game from start to finish, and they got, key players performing at the right time. Going into the Champions League, Newcastle away game, tough game. They're going to perform in that game, I assume. Hopefully, Lamine is back. But Barcelona look very, very good. Oh, let me touch on this a little bit quick. Atletico Madrid finally winning a game. I've been critical of Atletico Madrid all season. Critical of Simeone all season. But they got their first win against Villarreal. I have to give credit where credit is due. That gives them a lot of confidence coming to Anfield. This Wednesday, I think it is, Wednesday. A lot of confidence going into that game. Hopefully, they revert to the Atletico Madrid of the first 3 games of the season, and we can just pummel them. But I have a feeling they're gonna bring in a little bit more fight in that game. So credit to Atletico Madrid. Now, the game of the week, the game of the season so far, was Juventus versus Inter Milan. Where do I even start in this game? Okay, there was a lot of storylines about this game. The Thuram brothers facing each other. Marcus Thuram for Inter, Kefrem Thuram for Juventus. And then their dad, Lilian, played for Juventus long ago. He's in the stands watching the game, watching his 2 sons go at it. And Juventus started scoring. It's a great little play that they did. I think it's Locatelli plays the ball back post to Bremer. A great acrobatic cutback volley to the penalty spot, and Lord Kelly with the most striker-like finish you ever see from a center back. Just calm and composed. And from that point, you're thinking, okay, the Juve that I know are going to sit back and just invite pressure and let Inter Milan just dominate the ball. And I wouldn't say they allowed pressure or invited it, but Inter did get on the ball more. They started to create more, and Çalhanoğlu with just an exceptional. When that ball rolls to him, anywhere from 20 to 30 yards, you can expect bad things to happen, and that's exactly what happened multiple times in this game. Equalizes, and then Yildiz with a great strike. I initially thought it was a great strike. It is a great strike, but Jan Sommer, wow, this guy's cooked. This guy is actually, he's done. I think he's done at this level. He's past it. Gives Juventus the lead again, and man, you watch a game like this, and when you see a game like this, you're expecting the 2 teams matching up against each other. You're expecting, please don't be a cagey affair. Please don't be a defensive, a game where both teams are trying not to lose the game. They're just playing for the win. Just do whatever you can to win the game, right? And that's exactly what we saw in this game. Both teams were doing everything to win the game. It seemed like every time Juventus went forward, they scored, or there was a good chance being created, right? Inter equalized again. Çalhanoğlu, and then Thuram gave them the lead. And Thuram, it was a weird celebration. It was like almost a non-celebration. I don't know if it was because of his brother, because his dad played there, but like what's this respect game making, this woke nonsense in football where players don't celebrate. Hakimi didn't do it in the Champions League final. But I don't care who you are. I don't care if you paid my wages 10 years ago. I'm celebrating against you. If for my current team, this is my current team. I have to show the fans of my current team that I'm happy to be here. So I'm celebrating every goal for my current team. Whatever. Woke nonsense, but it's what it is. Thuram, the other brother, Kefram, equalizes, and he then celebrates like you should when you score a goal of that magnitude, right? And then copy his brother's celebration, which was... yikes. That's going to be an interesting conversation at Thanksgiving. I don't know if they celebrate Thanksgiving, but whatever. It's going to be an interesting conversation. And from this point on, you're thinking 3-3, probably a fair result. Everybody just go home. And this Adzic guy comes on and then just slams a 30-yarder. And again, Jan Sommer is cooked. He's had a great career. He's done amazing things. Won the league with Inter. Performed admirably everywhere he's been. Was great. I think it was Gladbach before he moved to Inter. He's been a good servant of the game. But it's that time. It's that time. It's time to move on. Leave the football before the football leaves you. And he's 36 years old, so it's not even like this is a bad take. He's just done out here, right? And that wins the game for Juventus. And where do we go from here in the title race? Inter, that's 2 losses on the bounce. Udinese, surprisingly, and now Inter. I think every time Inter don't play a team in white and black, they have good odds of winning the game. But when they do, we see what happens. And I said that the fall off for Inter we're going to start this season. I think most of us did. It's not like a hot take. With Inzaghi leaving, the team aging and not really replenishing in key areas, you can kind of see the end kind of coming, right? And now you're seeing Juventus coming back to, where they're used to being, right? Picking up form a little bit here and there. And they're looking reasonably good. And I said it before the season started, it's going to be a 3-horse race between Juve, Inter, and Napoli. I'm sticking by that. I think it will still be those three teams. I don't think, Juve are invincible. I think they'll still drop points along the way. I think Inter will pick up form along the way. But the team that's looking like the most informed team in Italy right now is Napoli. And Napoli look really, really good. Napoli look like a well-oiled machine. I said when Kevin De Bruyne joined this team, he could take them up a different level, right? His vision, his passing, he can contribute goals as well. Scores the penalty. They just look a different team, right? They look a little bit better. They even look better than they did last season, at least at the start. And I have my money at this point. I'm looking at Napoli as my Serie A champions. I think the most balanced team, right, in terms of defensively. Going forward, that midfield is a key kind of area for them. McTominay, De Bruyne, what the hell is his name? Sobotka. Guys, please forgive me. I'm literally going to look at his name right now. I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly. Lobotka. I was mixing his name. Stanislav Lobotka. I was putting Slobotka, but him. And Anguissa. That's a very, very nice little midfield four that can turn into a diamond at times. De Bruyne goes a little bit deeper. McTominay comes a little bit more inside. Spinazzola overlaps on the left side. Højlund looked good. It seems like everybody leaves United and they just feel better about themselves. They just perform better wherever they go, and that's exactly what Rasmus Højlund looked like in that game. He looked like a player that hadn't had his stint at United. He looked rejuvenized, reborn. There's only one game, but damn, is that all it takes to just look like yourself again? But Napoli, impressive win against Fiorentina, especially away from home. I like this team. I like how they're composed. I like how they're built, and I like the manager. And I think this team can go very far. I think this team can challenge us as well in the Champions League. We have to see what Conte can do in Europe, because we know about Conte in Europe. He drops the ball a little bit, but I like this Napoli team. Rounding it off, let's talk about Bayern. Bayern Munich 5-0 win again. Bayern Munich seem like the scariest team. Them and Barcelona seem like the scariest teams to play at the moment. They look like every single time they step on the pitch, they can hang 5 on anybody in this Bundesliga season. And Hamburg, I mean, they're cooked. They look like a team that's coming straight up and going straight back down. Bayern just look too good for everybody in this league, and it's what we're kind of used to, right? Once again, Diaz scoring. Once again, Kane scoring. Gnabry looks like he's back to the form he had under Hansi Flick. Olise didn't have his best game, but he still contributed. This Bayern team is moving like a well-oiled machine. Now, the midweek game against Chelsea, we can kind of see who the real Bayern is, right? Because like I said, you have the best team, the best manager, the highest, wage bill, the largest stadiums, everything you have is the best in Germany. So you should be beating teams handsomely in Germany. But when you go to the Champions League, what do you do in the Champions League? How do you perform against other top teams in the Champions League? And I think that this is where we see the real Bayern all throughout the season. Because, when they play St. Pauli, they'll win. When they play Hamburg, they'll win. Even when they play Dortmund, Leverkusen, Freiburg, Leipzig, all these teams, they'll still win. But when they play those big teams in Europe, I said we'll play Chelsea this week, then we'll see who the real Bayern is. But I still think this Bayern team, like I had them in the rankings and all the teams in the world, they're a top 5 team in the world, and they're going to show it this season. We'll see what happens in the Champions League, but they're going to prove that why they're the top 5 team in the world again this season. So great performance from them. Great credit also to Dortmund winning their game as well. See how long they push Bayern before the wheels finally fall off as usual, but hopefully longer this season. Hopefully they can be more of a title race this season, more of a challenge to Bayern this season. But knowing what we know for the last 10, 15 years, I doubt it. And that is the weekly roundup, weekend roundup. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back very soon with the next video, going through some Champions League games and then the weekend games as well. I'll be covering Liverpool's match against Atletico Madrid as well. So expect a lot of videos this week. Expect a lot of content this week for you guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace out.